Fire them up. That's right. That's what we do here at the Andrew Gosser Show. We fire them up. You're listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB, and we're streaming on Rumble, and we're streaming on X, and we're streaming on YouTube, and we are streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up our 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal, that is 103.9 WYB, like, share, and subscribe to the stream. We'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate a follow on X too. It's just Andrew Gosser, ANDREW GASSER. We got a jam-packed show today. We're going to have a guest call-in the second segment. Carver County GOP chairwoman Dr. Patricia Williamson is going to be coming in. Minnesota needs our help, and I'm going to have a platform, and I've got a way to reach out to some Mississippi lawmakers who can help out our neighbors up north. Let's do it. But the number, if you want to be part of the program today, is 601-879-0002. Text line is open, 601-879-5060. Yep. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. And what can be shaken will be shaken. And I'm just telling you what, after the storms yesterday at the farm, I need a little less shaken for a little bit. I need to dry out a little bit. There's so many places to start, whether it be with the congressional redistricting and the Supreme Court redistricting, or whether it be with the war in Iran and what's going on there. I thought this clip really is going to kind of set the tone, because we absolutely have to talk about redistricting, but I feel that the way that it's being portrayed in the media is not a fair representation of what it's really trying to do. But this lady, pink hair, lip ring, she kind of got it going on.
If you stay to watch the video, please tag him down below, share, and repost so we can try to get this to him as quickly as possible and hope that he can do something with this. President Trump, as a supporter who voted for you 3 times, I am hoping and praying that you will revisit what Barack Obama and Joe Biden got rid of back in 2013, which is the Smith-Mundt Act, which held news corporations accountable for lying to the American people and spreading propaganda instead of truth.
Yep. I don't need to say any more than that. When we got rid of Smith-Mundt Act, American journalism went straight into the toilet. Flush it. It's horrible. In the second hour, we'll talk about the war, but the American media is the best weapon the Islamic Republic of Iran has. It is by far the very best weapon. And when it comes to the congressional redistricting and voting down or turning around the Voter Rights Act, specifically based on race, you're getting all sorts of different reports out there. Mississippi Free Press has a very stern, solemn, concerned look of Benny Thompson. And then, of course, they have to have Shad White there looking angry and upset. Not smiling, not looking same concerned, focused. Nope, angry. It's that yellow journalism that Mississippi Free Press is so well known for. And, of course, Mississippi Today, they're still not doing anything. Pulitzer Prize winning nonprofit supported by the SPLC, who also in turn supports the Grand Wizard and the Exalted Cyclops, the KKK. Still haven't said anything on that. But, when you don't have Smith-Mundt, you can't expect to get good journalism. But you know where you can get good journalism, ladies and gentlemen? It's right here in Mississippi. Magnolia Tribune. This coming from Freight Quarter. Mississippi House and Senate plan for special session after U.S. Supreme Court ruling on Callis, which is the Louisiana court case, which brought up how we draw our districts in the United States of America. And I've been tagged on so many of the memes, ladies and gentlemen. It's been awesome. The one with, but it's got the Democrats sitting there pouting, but Texas started it and then showing New England with all the blue congressional districts. And one of my liberal friends did say, well, some of those states only have one district, so it's only going to be a Democrat. True. But where there's more than 3 districts, they're drawn. Go look at how the districts are drawn. They're drawn in such a way that you can tell they're looking for a certain outcome. And we've been very specific about this in California and Illinois. Mississippi actually helps out the Democrats a lot. It could be drawn very differently. If you look at it, you've got the southeast corner of Mississippi, Mike Ezekiel's district, District 3, which is Michael Guest, and District 1 up north, Mr. Kelly's district. I mean, there's no weird lines anywhere in Mississippi except for District 2. You got to cut out a little bit of Madison County. You got to cut out a little bit of this over here. We got to make sure that we don't get too much of DeSoto County. We got to go around there because that's a conservative area. And we're going to make sure that this is a D plus 14, D plus 12 district. But I digress. Frank Quarter came out with a great article, and I recommend everybody read it. And as soon as X starts working for me again, I will exit out there for everybody. After the news broke Wednesday that the U.S. Supreme Court had issued a ruling in Louisiana versus Collis case, House Speaker Jason White and State Senator Bryce Wiggins wasted little time in directing legislative attorneys to prepare analysis on the ruling of the impact of the state Supreme Court redistricting in Mississippi. So they're not even looking at Benny yet. The governor has not directed Speaker White or Senator Wiggins to look at the 2nd Congressional District of Mississippi. But did you notice what America's governor, Ron DeSantis, did? He had this stuff drawn up months before this decision came down. He was counting on it going a certain way. He would have looked really foolish if the Supreme Court would have voted the other way. Within minutes of this decision coming down, the Florida State Legislature had already passed a new map. And I don't know if you got to see the video of it. I had it saved, but won't pull up on X now. But you had this state rep from Florida dressed in pink with a pink microphone, just losing her mind on the floor. Losing her mind. You know, you never saw Republicans in Illinois going nuts or California going nuts. If you go out there and look around, you can see Congressman Mike Bost of Illinois, when he was a state rep, throwing a 1,200-page bill in the air in a temper tantrum. That was pretty epic. But other than that, you've never really seen Republicans go off on the floor of the House or the Senate. But these Democrats are out of control. And here's the truth. If District 2 does get redistricted, there's a chance that a black Republican can run for that district and have a chance. No longer will we have to say based on race. It's going to be based on the content of your character. And we talked about this the other day. Every Democrat-controlled city right now in America is falling apart. Whether it be Seattle, whether it be Jackson, whether it be Chicago. Do you see what's happening in New York? The bazillionaires are leaving, and they're just saying, screw you, Mondami. And this is the scary part, which we will tie in the second hour, is that the education system is not producing people who can think for themselves. They need to go to their smartphones, plug into their favorite AI agent, and be told what to think. And it's out there, and I've got the teacher videos to prove it. Governor Tate Reeves announced last Friday that he would call lawmakers into a special session 21 days after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled on the Callis matter to address the Supreme Court redistricting. The move by the governor sought to address the U.S. District Judge Sharon Ayok's order back in district lines back in 1987. This goes all the way back then. And it really comes down to education and what we're taught in school, because we're not taught civics. We're not taught about how people get elected, how to vote, not like who to vote for, but how to vote, the process of it. It's all thrown out. Given that lawmakers did not comply with Judge Ayak's order to redraw the state Supreme Court district during the regular session, attorneys at the state and those challenging the current districts were required to notify the judge within 7 days of the legislative session or legislative sine die, which is the end of legislative session. Informing the court, lawmakers did not redraw the boundaries this session. And that's good because we know that there are plenty of judges out there who don't know what the heck they're talking about. And we've talked about the corrupt judges, and we've had plenty of people call in on both the left and the right, both black and white, saying, wow, some of these judges, they've lost their minds. Senator Wiggins, who has been the lead on judicial redistricting in the Senate as the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, said the decision on Wednesday does provide lawmakers with guidance from the special session. Yeah, it's the Supreme Court, which is what it's supposed to do. And we've got people that are elected who shouldn't be there. And we have people in Mississippi who can do something about it, because in the next segment, we're going to have Dr. Patricia Williamson on the show, Carver County GOP chair, talking about Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and the help that they need from us. And I like to think that our audience is very plugged in, very active, and perhaps we can work together and get something done, because this lady, she needs to go. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Hey, oh, hey, call right back. Call right back. It's a bad connection.
Oh, Andrew?
Yeah, call right back. Hey,
Hello?
hey, much better, much better. We had a bad connection. We're in a
Yeah,
commercial
I
break.
saw.
I was just going to say we're in a commercial break. When we get back, I'm going to give a little bit about Michael Guest, and then I'll bring you in. And I got
Okay.
the videos that you sent me, but X is down. It's not pulling up on my computer. So,
Oh, jeez.
so we're just going to wing it for 15 minutes or so.
Okay.
Sounds good?
All right. Sounds good.
Yep. Yeah, welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. You know, we have this opportunity in Mississippi to lead the way in America. We are supposedly a very conservative state. We've got supermajority in the House, overwhelming majority in the Senate, lieutenant governor that's a Republican, governor that's Republican, congressmen who are Republican. And one of those congressmen is Mr. Michael Guest of the 3rd Congressional District. I know him. He's an all right guy. I get along with him. I know a lot of you don't. But hey, we need help. And I've got Dr. Patricia Williamson on the line. Doctor, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, Andrew.
For those of you who don't know Dr. Williamson, she is the chairwoman of the Carver County GOP in Minnesota. God bless her soul. And they've got a situation up there where we in Mississippi can have an impact. So, Doctor, the floor is yours. Have at it.
Yeah, so it's great to be on with you this morning. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with everyone. So, what is really problematic here, and I think it impacts not just Minnesota, but we have very little, we can't hardly get rid of this woman, but Ilhan Omar, who's from Congressional District 5 in Minnesota, your listeners may or may not know, she's from Somalia originally. And if you have been following any of the national news around the fraud and things in the state of Minnesota, she has a lot of influence here, impact here. She's bringing in federal dollars for some of these programs that are being taken advantage of. And she has said very clearly that she is here to represent Somalia, not so much
scary.
Minnesotans when she's talking to her fellow countrymen. So I think it's very important that she be held accountable. Well, what's even worse, not only about her role in the fraud, but there's questions that are substantial around her U.S. citizenship even. And we have people in our area that's done a lot of research on her. And recently, this was brought up by Congresswoman Nancy Mace in the Oversight Committee. But unfortunately, while she was trying to subpoena the records that were required to show Ilhan Omar may not even have proper U.S. citizenship, the Republicans in the Oversight Committee decided just recently to not set up the investigation because they didn't think it was the appropriate committee for this work, that it should be done and handled by the members in the Ethics Committee, because that's what they're decided to do. But we need to have someone to bring that up in ethics in order to investigate her legitimacy in Congress.
Oh, well, it just so happens that we know somebody who is the chairman of the Ethics Committee in the Congress, and that's Mr. Michael Guest.
I know. I think it's a wonderful thing, and I'm glad that I was able to connect the dots and go, well, I have my good friend in Mississippi. I should call him and let him know about this situation.
You know, here's a chance. We in Mississippi, it's just true. We are very knowledgeable on national politics. We follow a lot of the stuff that's going on, like the Save America Act. Our Coast Guardsmen not getting paid for over 60 days now and get kicked out. We were very aware of national issues, and it's very rare that we have an opportunity for Mississippi to have such an impact on an issue like this. Our senators, whether we like them or not, they always swim with the pack. They don't really go against the grind, and this is a chance for Mississippi and Michael Guest to really take the lead on this and investigate Ilhan Omar. I mean, she said, and you sent me the video, Patricia, but unfortunately, X is not loading it. But she said she's Somali first. Why is she? If she's Somali first, why is she in the Congress? This is something that Michael Guest can easily do. He's chairman of the Ethics Committee. He could bring this up, and they could start looking at this.
Yes, absolutely. And the other thing, most recently, is it was noted that there was $1 million earmark that she had pushed through in Congress for another fraudulent operation in Minnesota. And that was recently. So she is continuing that pipeline and funnel. And I think it would be interesting to your listeners who are going to be very much impacted by the recent Supreme Court ruling around redistricting. She made sure she let it be known that she does not favor the ruling and feels like the redistricting is wrong. She says it's a rigging the rules to suppress the right to vote. And if that's the game, Democratic states must fight back to protect our democracy. Yet it wasn't the Supreme Court that eviscerated the Voting Rights Act. It was actually the manipulation over the last several decades that have caused a lot of problems across the United States. And I think we're not at a point where we need these districts to be manipulated in the way that they have. We should have fair and reasonable drawing of our congressional districts across the United States.
For those people who don't know, Patricia and I met back in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there, when we were both living in Illinois, and we are both subject matter experts on gerrymandering maps, as we lived in Illinois. And
we've been subjected to.
Oh my God, Mike Madigan. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And we watched our counties. You lived in Kane, if I remember correctly. I lived in McHenry.
Yes.
And we watched.
And we ended up with Tammy Duckworth over some redistricting, didn't we?
Yep. We had great conservative leadership in Congress, and it was really awesome. And they just drew them out. And so for all the liberals whining and crying with these fake tears, we need to go back and look at how we're actually redrawing districts. And what this is unfortunately, Patricia, and I'd like your opinion on this, is when one side does something over and over again, the other side counteracts it. And what we've seen since 1980, the 80s, when California and Illinois and New York really took the lead on redrawing districts, all of these states have slowly just drifted to the left, and the right really hasn't done anything. And now you're seeing a correction in places like Texas and Florida, perhaps Mississippi, Louisiana, Missouri, potentially Indiana, South Carolina. And you're seeing a correction because of what the left has done.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. I think it will make it where the representation is more reflective of the actual voting population and the votes that have been cast without obscuring the Republican balance. I mean, look at what was just attempted in Virginia. That was abhorrent and a disservice to conservative voters. And we have that experience in Minnesota. We are fortunate. Out of our 8 congressional districts in total, half of them are Republicans. And you may be aware of our one of our lead Republicans is Congressman Tom Emmer, who is the Republican whip currently in the House. He is actually my congressman, so I'm fortunate to live in one of those red districts, but we're under attack here all the time.
Yep.
It's very hard to be a Republican in Minnesota.
Yeah, it's very easy to be a Republican in Mississippi. We don't face the same scrutiny that we would in Minnesota or in Illinois. I did pull up this article from The Hill. Conservative backlash to earmark for Somali-led organization and Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar's Minnesota district is creating a speed bump for the package of funding 3 bills. And this is from The Hill. If X was up, I'd retweet it. But she is sending money to a Somali project, the Justice Empowerment Initiative, and $1,031,000. We need to get people like this out of Congress. I mean, I'm just saying this selfishly as a Mississippian. If we could just stop all the fraud in Minnesota would be fixed, but some of that money would end up coming down here, and we can help fix our state too. And the fraud that's happening in Minnesota is hurting everybody. And I don't think a lot of Democrats are realizing that.
It's taking from everybody. It takes from actually helping people that you want helped. It takes away from our education system that we want improved. Yet Minnesota fraud which is federal money taken from national taxpayers. It's not just my tax dollars, although Governor Walz likes to pretend like we pay in more than what we take away. That's not solely true. It's still money from the federal programs that are being stolen. And those federal dollars can go to helping our own people, yet the fraud is equivalent to the GDP of Somalia.
Yep. And that's why.
Let me repeat that. The fraud in Minnesota is equivalent to the GDP for Somalia. So where are they getting their money for their infrastructure, for all their things? And then when the money comes in, the terrorists in Somalia are taking a cut of that money as well. So we are indirectly funding terrorism with national taxpayer federal dollars.
If you're paying federal tax dollars, a portion of your tax bill is going to Somalia. And I actually did, doing show prep for today, went and watched some of the construction projects that are going in and outside of Mogadishu. I mean, it's turning into almost like a little Abu Dhabi. You're watching the construction there is great, and they're taking our money and strengthening their backbone, and it just drives me nuts. Which is why I'm asking, and I know Dr. Williamson, I'll let you ask Congressman Guest too. Please take up this investigation of Ilhan Omar. Please give us a chance to go ahead and start correcting Congress, because there's no other congressman out there can do that. Doctor, I'll give you the last word, my friend.
Okay, well, I do plead with my Republican friends and national people. I think if Congressman Guest could please at least look at this, look at what Nancy Mace has proposed in the Oversight Committee, bring that to the Ethics Committee. Ilhan Omar definitely needs investigated. This needs to be looked into. There is so much here that we're trying to do from the ground, but I need your help from the top.
Yep.
And I thank you for doing that.
Well, this isn't the last time we're going to have your people on. Next week, we'll have some more people on, because I know there's a lot more to talk about as far as Ilhan Omar goes and the fraud that's been brought up coincidentally by a private journalist, in Nick Shirley. But we want to make sure that we keep reminding Congressman Guest, we keep reminding those of us in Mississippi, when we send people to Washington, they're representing more than Mississippi. They're representing a lot of Republicans in blue states who are pleading for help. And granted, they're not being sent to Washington, D.C. by people from Minnesota or Illinois or California, but you are representing Republicans there, and we need you. Doctor, it's always great to have you on. We'll make sure they get you back on again here soon.
Yes, keep it on, keep it on. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Patricia Williams, Carver County GOP chairwoman, asking politely, I should say it right, asking politely to go ahead and have the Ethics Committee take up Ilhan Omar's investigation. We don't need her in Congress. There are plenty of Democrats out there who are malleable, friendly, hospitable. We get along with each other. Not everybody is part of the squad or a Hakeem Jeffries. We need to bring this together and start taking our country back. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. This is 103.9 WYAB, and we will be right back.
I didn't really think I had a whole lot to add to this conversation, but I don't think a lot of people understand how much this is affecting them in every single course that they're taking, not just the ones where they're having to write passages like science and math and community courses, but it's
lot about America's education. We are worried about the wrong things right now.
But as I'm
We are
reading
focused on the wrong things right now. At this point, this is not solely a teacher problem. Parents need to take accountability. They need to
That's pretty cool to see you, Tom. That's awesome. I hope you're doing well. And welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. I will not let you down. I will say stuff that a lot of Republicans and conservatives won't say. Not afraid to do that. It's really neat. Social media, for all of the bad things that it does provide in society, it does have cool things that it does. And to see my friend Tom Posnanski out there checking in on Facebook, that is, it brings a smile to my face, brother. It really does. I hope you're doing well up there in Illinois. We did have Dr. Patricia Williamson on the last segment. You know, we've got Congressman Guest here, very influential member of Congress, powerful. He can go ahead and he can get this Elon Omar ball rolling down the court, and we can get rid of her. That's not to say that they're going to elect a Republican in their spot. Very big possibility that they'll get somebody else. But at the same time, we've got to start weeding this stuff out. The stuff that's happening inside Congress, the trillions of dollars, it's not billions. They say Minnesota's 18 billion, but we know that it's more. And you throw in California, Oregon, Washington, Michigan, Ohio, Maine, New York, everywhere. You throw all that stuff in there, and my goodness, you're talking trillions of dollars, and we've got to get in there. I've got to say too, and I wanted to get Dr. Patricia Williamson in here to talk about that, but I don't want to take away from the seriousness of what's going on with this Supreme Court ruling. Fallout is coming back very swift, and I was just sent this article where Democrats are now complaining that they're not going to have a black governor. It's going to be harder to get a black governor. Well, the Republicans did try to put up a woman for governor, a woman who was black in Virginia, and white Democrats gerrymandered her out of a possible victory. And so to say that it's this ruling is going to disenfranchise the black community, it's not. It's going to look at what are the results. What is the fruit of your policies? Because if we look at the fruit of Democrat policies here in Jackson, Mississippi, we know that that fruit is all rotten. It's fetid. It's nasty. It's got fleas flying in and out of it. No one wants to eat from Jackson. The water system is completely broke, and it took the federal government and the state government bailing out Jackson, where the DA, Jody Owens of Hinds County, is under indictment by the FBI. The former mayor of Jackson is under indictment from the FBI. The new mayor, John Horn, God bless him, he's trying to do some stuff. But you still got aldermen there who are fighting him at every step. And Andy, are you saying that you're a Democrat? You like John Horn? No, but I am a recovering politician, and I can recognize people who are actually trying to do something positive. We have to get past this whole notion of right good, left bad, blue bad, red good, Democrat bad, Republican good. Remember, it's the political class against the rest of us. And the political class in Jackson is eating pretty good. And especially in Mississippi. You know, I've got this article, and I'll bring it up now. This is coming from Dark Horse Press. Let me pull it up here. Dark Horse Press, Dark Horse Press, Dark Horse Press. Where did it go? Here it is, Dark Horse Press. Listen to this, Tom. I know you're retired now. That's awesome. I'm glad. Study. 3 Mississippi towns rank among the most envied middle-class lifestyles in the United States of America. This is coming out of Tupelo. 3 Mississippi communities, Tupelo, Oxford, and Madison, are drawing national attention as places where residents say the middle-class lifestyle still feels within reach, according to a new survey on the most envied places to live. I'm telling you this, Mississippi is by far the greatest state to live in. You know, we have yards. There's not too many suburban life. It's not that way. It seems to go from metro area to a little bit of suburban area and then a lot of farmland. And the cost of living that's here in Mississippi, second to none. The study conducted by Calgary Homes and based on responses from more than 3,000 people ranked cities across the country where Americans believe they can achieve a balance of affordability, community, and quality of life. While no Mississippi cracked the top 10, Tupelo ranked number 49, Oxford ranked 82, and Madison 97. I would argue that there are a lot of other places that would be wonderful to live. I know right inside Canton might not be that hot, but downtown Canton and the square, man, that's like right out of a Jules Verne novel. It's so Americana, Norman Rockwell painting. We've got it so good here, and yet the news media and social media just pit us all against each other, fighting and scrapping. It's really great down here. I would also say that our Judeo-Christian values play a big part of it too, although that seems to be slipping to the wayside. Mississippi's got so much going for it. We're not in debt. Well, Jackson's in debt, but we as a state are not in debt. Our roads are, well, compared to most places, are in great shape. I know if I was still if you were a highway commissioner down here, you'd look at some of this and go, "That's a good road," and you just smile like, "Yeah, we got that." The problems that we have here in Mississippi are so minimal compared to what other states have. And a lot of it's due because we don't have a lot of bureaucracy and rock gut bloated politicians. That's not to say that we don't have those people in there who are purposely misusing the government, but we have it good. And every time I hear people trashing on Mississippi, I'm like, you go live in Chicago for a little bit and let me know how it goes. Go spend some time in Detroit or Dearborn or Seattle or Minneapolis. You will be running back to Mississippi ASAPly, moving and grooving. We've got it great here. Our culture's good. The food's good. I mean, when I first moved here, I couldn't believe the friendliness of people here. People actually smile and wave at each other. I have who's this guy waving at me from the truck? I have no idea who the heck this guy is. I'm sitting there wondering, something wrong with my car, flat, what? I'm looking around. It's just the friendliness factor. And I wish that more people could see the positive side of Mississippi and not just the negative side. But I digress. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We're going to take our last commercial break of the hour. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. It's only in America and only on 103.9 WYAB. That's where you will find the Andrew Gosser Show. And to all of my friends out there, my keyboard warriors, golden mouses on your ribbon, go pull up the map for Minnesota and you will see how they drew their map. and you'll see how it all touches Minneapolis, St. Paul. How they make sure that they carve in just enough Democrats to go ahead and make it a power base. This isn't just a Mississippi problem or a Louisiana problem or Illinois problem. It's a national problem. It gets to the root of humanity. We're always going to be looking out for number one when we should be looking out to number one. And as we continue to lose our belief in God and our faith in Christ, you're going to see the country continue to downward spiral. We can pull out of this really quickly. Look no further than Jericho. But you sit there and we look at how we're descending further and further into chaos, and we're trying to find man-made solutions to this, and people are getting all excited. I just want to read this quote. Russ Latino, just 22 minutes ago, put out this, and I think it's fair. I should get Russ on the show. Donald Trump received 42% of the vote in Connecticut, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, and Virginia in 2024. Those states combined congressional delegations will include 45 Democrats and 5 Republicans. If Virginia new plan ultimately takes effect, that's 9-to-1 ratio. Republicans have 1/4 the representation they should have in these states. Clutch your pearls if you must about Texas and Florida redistricting, but there are only people trying to maintain or grow power here. There are no benevolent overlords. That is exactly correct. There are no benevolent overlords. And that includes you, Jackson, and your alderman. I can remember serving, being a county board member, being a highway commissioner. People are always looking to, hey, can you sign this contract and help me with this deal? And you are going to make decisions as an elected official. And some people are going to like them and some are not. Some people didn't like the fact that I thought it was crazy to have 4 different kinds of tractors or snowplows at the highway district. And they got really upset when we went to one type of contractor. We had a bidding process. We went through all the hoops that we were supposed to follow. And we got ourselves a beautiful fleet of Peterbilts. And one was even pink for breast cancer awareness. Oh, that was the greatest. I'll tell you what, anytime you can stick it to the libs and do something like that, it was great. And then we had an autism awareness truck too. I remember people were getting so upset over a pink truck. It cost us $1, which I paid. It's amazing. So everybody who's washing their hands over this congressional redistricting stuff, you need to not be so worried about washing your hands, but getting on your knees and praying that we get our country back to where it was. I'll tell you what, I would gladly take the reading level of kids back in the late 1990s and early 2000s of where it is right now. I would gladly take the race relations we had in the 1990s and 2000s of where it is now. We had it so much better. And these kids, while their minds are being turned to goo by their cell phones and iPads, they do know that something's different. They can't figure it out yet. But they realize that something's wrong, and we're gonna talk about it in the next hour. And people, you can be as mad as you want at the kids, and you can be as mad as you want at the teachers. I can even argue to make a case about our higher overlords at the National Education Association, Department of Education. We can all make arguments for them, but ultimately, who you got to look at is mom and dad. And I've got the receipts, and I plan to put that out in the next hour. That's going to be a major topic. We also got to talk about the Coast Guard. Coast Guard, by them not funding Department of Homeland Defense, our Coast Guard's men and women are not getting paid, and it's been over 60 days. This isn't a Republican problem. This isn't a Trump problem. This is a Chuck Schumer and the Democrat problem, refusing to fund Department of Homeland Security. It's absolutely terrible. And they're the ones who have this on their hands. It's not the Republicans. We vote to fund it tomorrow. It's not the president. He'd sign the bill today. It's Democrats. Looking at yourself in the mirror. That's all coming up in the next hour of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back.
Indication Allen hoped to carry out a mass shooting and that he in fact intended to minimize casualties by using buckshot in his shotgun. Federal prosecutors say the 31-year-old teacher planned an attack of unfathomable malice that risked the lives of hundreds of people and amounted to an anti-democratic act of political violence.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. The war with Iran now hitting the 2-month mark, with talks still stalled and Iran's regime now threatening to hit back on U.S. aggression. Iran's new supreme leader, who has not been seen publicly since the war began, reportedly issuing a new message saying Iran will not give up its nuclear ambitions. That escalation driving crude prices higher and gas prices to new highs in the U.S. not seen in 4 years. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge says the blockade by both the
not
U.S.
seen in
and
4
Iran is
years.
impacting global costs.
The situation in the Strait of Hormuz remains. I mean, we are seeing a very small number of cargo vessels get through there. The Japanese said that one of their vessels got through yesterday. A Singapore-linked vessel, according to tracking data, also was allowed through by the Iranians and also by the U.S. through their blockades because it didn't breach the U.S. blockade. But, these are a very small number of vessels compared to what was, a critical, cargo point.
Despite the war, consumer spending remains robust. Government figures showing that the gross domestic product regained momentum in the first quarter of this year. After a historic visit this week, including addressing both chambers of Congress and a state dinner, King Charles and Queen Camilla wrapping up their trip. The royal couple making one last stop at the White House today and traveling to Virginia. You're listening to ABC News.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Zipper. News this hour is brought to you by the Rusty Healy Agency in Madison. Call Landon Thompson at 601-856-3681 to request a quote or learn more.
The child was only alone for a few minutes. 72 is the high today, some of the coolest weather in a while, but that comes with a 30% chance for more rain. That chance goes up to 50% tonight with a low at 54. 62 is the high Friday with an 80% chance for rain. Friday night and Saturday morning, more thunderstorms are possible before it's all over with for the weekend. You've got news on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis. While the dad was mowing grass Wednesday morning about 10, a small child was able to get out of the house and wander over to a neighbor's old pool and fall in. That was in Natchez, and Police Chief Lee Best says the police arrived to find a utility worker doing his best to revive the child. Medics also tried, but the child died on the way to the hospital. No name released yet. The maintenance of the Natchez Trace Parkway is on the mind of Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, who asked Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum about it at a Wednesday Senate committee hearing.
We're also trying to set up what I'll call a DOT. I want to have a head of all the roads across all these federal agencies.
He says they are having trouble getting money for federal road upkeep. A man who police in Copiah County say has experience using a gun for evil has been arrested on charges that he held up the Wesson truck stop Saturday. 24-year-old Logan Macklin is charged with armed robbery, and cops say he is also facing the same charge in Hazelhurst. 2 people from Mississippi have been ID'd as the victims in a head-on wreck about 4 o'clock Monday morning in Kentucky. 43-year-old Mahalia Brown of Magnolia and 20-year-old Benjamin Thompson of Magnolia died when their Camry swerved into the path of a dump truck. More news in 1 hour on 103.9 WYAB. I'm Chris Davis.
Where do you stand in the pro-life community? If you're passionate about protecting the sanctity of life from fertilization to natural death, please join us at Pro-Life Mississippi as we make a difference and save lives right here in our own state. Pro-Life Mississippi is a community of individuals dedicated to equipping others to value all human life, including the preborn, those with disabilities, and the elderly. Our mission is simple: to provide unwavering support, education, and advocacy for the preborn, their families, and other vulnerable children and adults. If you're just starting your pro-life journey or you have been an advocate of life for many years, Pro-Life Mississippi needs your voice and talents to save lives in Mississippi. Together, we can make a difference in building a stronger pro-life Mississippi. Learn more about us at prolifems.org. That's prolifems.org. Be part of the community that celebrates each and every human life.
You love your land, and you have plans for it. During Kubota Orange Days, you'll love the great deals on our versatile, reliable lineup, helping you turn dream projects into reality. Visit your Kubota dealer today for the best deals of the year. Now through June 30th, 0% financing available, or save up to $5,500 off select compact tractors. Sale ends soon. Stop by your local dealer or go to gokubota.com.
Visit Davini Equipment in Madison and Jackson, or at DaviniEquipment.com.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are the individual views and opinions of the people expressing them and are not necessarily.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB, where we're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on YouTube. And we're streaming at the mothership that is WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 103.9 WYAB, like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it. Help build up the station. Help out our advertisers. We appreciate that. Look, if you want to be part of the program today, it's easy. 601-879-0002. Text line is open. I know I've gotten texts. I haven't checked them yet. I will in a minute. 601-879-5060. The mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show, it is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. And what can be shaken will be shaken. I planted it, Apollos watered it, but it was God that gave the increase. And looking at Dogfish over there, holy cow, water is wet and runny. ABC being very sensational. Yeah, strange things are afoot at ABC. For those who haven't noticed, we've went from CBS, who decided to get out of the radio news business, and we went with ABC. And that's just who we went with, and that's where it's going to be for the foreseeable future. Hopefully it's a good marriage here between ABC Radio News and WYAB 103.9. We appreciate that. Well, I've been sitting here thinking about the education problem and the Mississippi Miracle and how our students are doing better than other students around the nation. And like Brother Richard will tell me, it's the testing. It's not that they're actually doing better. But could it be that maybe our parents in Mississippi are just a little bit more concerned about their kids in school? Now, I'm not talking about Jackson. I have a dear friend who teaches in Jackson, and that person shall remain nameless. They say it's crazy in some of those schools. But could it be that kids who come from a two-parent home where the parents, mom and dad, or if there's a single family or single parent home, mom or dad takes a very keen interest in your homework? Could it be that it's the parents that are the problem? Could it be that our culture has moved away from appreciating a solid education and more worried about whether you can get 100,000 followers on YouTube? What are we consuming and what are we producing? That's how I always looked at life. From when the first day I went to boot camp, I had to produce push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups. Luckily, the dip bar, for whatever reason, they never sent us to the dip bar. I'm sure my company commanders would have put me there a lot more because, man, my dips were sorry. Couldn't do the dips, but, man, I could do push-ups and sit-ups and pull-ups. Do we appreciate a good education anymore? I was just reading a article before the show today talking about how Howard University is denying people because they have so much student loan debt. Are the degrees that our universities are offering any good? Is a US history degree really that important, or is a mechanical engineering degree more important? Is a mathematics degree more important, or 1870 West African lesbian studies degree more important? I know it's a very big deal, especially for those of us who came from very poor families like myself. My mom worked 3 jobs to make sure that my sisters and I got through school okay, and I barely made it out of high school, but I made it. Ended up going to college, getting a 3.98 GPA, did alright. But we've got some videos here, and these are from teachers talking about the hard time they're having with their students. And I'm gonna continue to harp on this because I'm not sure throwing more money at the problem is gonna solve the issue. If your pre-K 4-year-old comes into the pre-K and just acting the fool like a monster, how's that gonna help? If the system is just designed to promote, and the administrators are sitting there just making sure that the grades are good enough to promote the kid to the next level, so they're not a D school or a F school, what's that say about our education system? Here we go. We're to start this one off.
So in today's example of your child cannot read, every year my final project is that students have to do a children's book about a topic that we've discussed this year. And I feel like if you can break something down enough that a 5, 6, 7-year-old knows it, then you understand the material. So today a student came to me and showed me his book, and it was on ecological succession because I'm a science teacher. But as I'm reading it, it's talking about money and like paying taxes and all this stuff. And I'm like, what does ecological succession mean to you? Because I think something's missing here. And he's like adamant. He's like, this is ecological succession. Yes, we talk about money. I've learned about money in here. Like we talk about money all the time. And I'm like, in science? Child, you know what this boy was trying to say? Do you know what he Googled? He thought ecological succession was economical succession. He wrote a children's book about economical succession and taxes of the government.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a teacher from the inner city. She's got problems. Now, did this student bring home his homework and say, Mom, Dad, Auntie, Uncle, brother, sister, this is what I've got to do? I know for a fact that every time Toots McCracken brings home homework, and she's a junior in high school, we're overlooking it. I'll tell you what, trying to remember chemistry is a real pain in the neck. No comments, Eric Randall. To be an active, involved parent takes a lot more than just starting the family, if you get my drift. It is a lifetime of loving, teaching, mentoring, and correcting your child. And the truth of the matter is between the dissolving of the nuclear family, doesn't even matter what race it is, and incentivizing and monetizing being a single mother, we have killed the brains of so many kids. These kids are coming into school with brand new iPhones, and they're on food stamps. These kids are below the poverty line, and yet they're wearing high-end clothes. But they don't have pencils and paper for their school supplies. This is another one. Ooh, this one is really good. I want to continue down this path.
About it real quick, let's make it make sense. I know all last week, all over social media, you saw nothing but teachers talking about how elementary and middle school kids are reading 4 years below grade level. Well, as a high school teacher, I'm here to inform you that high school kids are doing way worse. They are reading 6 years below grade level. The only difference is a whole heap of these kids are going to graduate at the end of this school year, and we are expecting them to go to college and obtain jobs when they cannot even comprehend basic skills, which is why we probably see a problem with employers finding employees. There are literally high school kids reading on a 3rd grade reading level, and still states are expecting teachers to prepare kids and have them pass state tests are on or above grade level. See, the issue is schools have dumbed it down for kids. They have made it so easy that kids believe that their only job is to show up and behave, and that should be enough to get a passing grade and to go on to the next grade level. We have a real issue here, and please do not talk to me about graduation rates, because Bugs Bunny could graduate in this era. Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. These are teachers who have been in the business. I've watched a lot of the different videos, 16, 18 years experience. And I think about it, where jobs that were entry level, where we were learning social skills and work ethic, those jobs really don't exist anymore. I remember going to fast food chains, and it was called fast food for a reason. You make your order, a minute later, you are out of there. You go to some of these places now, I'm not going to mention any names, but you're waiting 10, 15 minutes. And girlfriend behind the counter there is sitting there looking at her smartphone with her nails tapping and clicking on Tic-Tac. And they have no sense of urgency, no social skills. And here's the thing that bothers me, and I'm not calling myself a hypocrite or anything, but we are so upset that they're doing this. Xers, boomers, silent generation, we're like, look at these guys. They don't have any manners. They don't. I like to think my daughter has great manners, but I sit there and look at her and think, girl, you better watch your mouth. It's not enough anymore to just sit there and blame the kids or the teachers. Man, I can't believe I'm saying that. Like, everybody who knows me back in the day would be like, Andy, you're defending the teachers? Well, in this instance, I am. When teacher given out an assignment to go write a thing on ecological whatever it was, and he did economics. That's just insane to me. And that's why I think our country is good for about another 8 to 10 years. When you get a whole generation of these gobbledygook kids who were raised on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, but they can't put a hook on a fishing line and go fishing. When you've got these kids who are more worried about being an influencer than being a job creator. And don't get me wrong, there are young men and women out there. Blake Bartlam is one of them. He can guest host a radio show. He could have his own radio show if he decided he really wanted to work hard enough at it. You know, we do have kids out there who are exceeding expectations. But with the advent of AI, the village idiot can look smart. I think we did an experiment, was it last week or the week before, where I did a 125-page paper on the application of air power, and Grok spit it out to me in 15 seconds. A lifetime of war fighting generated in 15 seconds. And it was legitimate. I went through and read it. It was at an unclassed level, but I was like, woo, wow, the AI really understood it. So are we now teaching our kids how to critically think for themselves? Or are we teaching them how to critically grok it or chat GPT it? Last thing before we go to break. This video, I should have saved it and I didn't. But it was a girl who had worked her behind off on a paper, and her teacher got it, ran it through an AI detector, and said at least 20% of it was AI. And this girl literally broke down because he failed her, and she literally did the work. She had all her notes. It's like back in the day when we used to write our papers. Remember how we had to write the outline form, and then you'd write the outline form, and then you'd bring it up to the teacher, say, okay, this is a good outline. Now we'll write the basic paragraphs. You go back and write the first sentence of each paragraph, bring it back up. She literally did that method, and the teacher skull crushed her, and she's like, I'm done. We can't even tell what's AI anymore and what's not AI anymore. And things that we think are legitimate thought, legitimate thinking, legitimate ideas are popping off in AI detectors. We're in trouble, folks. I look at that girl and I can see her face, and I'm just like, man, that's crushing. And we've all seen it. If you are a teacher, it's evident now. They're saying 50% of fourth graders and up are using Chat GPT or some other AI to help with homework. You know, it's like having Google back in the day. Remember when Google actually meant something? You could actually type something into Google and it would give you real answers, not the slop that Alphabet wanted you to have. We're at this inflection point with this technology. I don't know where it's going to go, but I see these notes from teachers and I see these teacher videos, and I'm going to continue to harp on that, because until we get back to real parenting, getting back to God, we can have all the AI and artificial intelligence you want. It's just that it's artificial. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. Be right back.
source on I-55 in Jackson is the place to find it. All sizes for all purposes. And they have the official 250-year celebration flag. Have a look at CompleteFlags.com. That's CompleteFlags.com.
You love your land, and you have plans for it. During Kubota Orange Days, you'll love the great deals on our versatile, reliable lineup, helping you turn dream projects into reality. Visit your Kubota dealer today for the best deals of the year. Now through June 30th, 0% financing available, or save up to $5,500 off select compact tractors. Sale ends soon. Stop by your local dealer or go to gokubota.com.
Visit Davini Equipment in Madison and Jackson or at DaviniEquipment.com.
Pops Auto Sales on Highway 49 in Florence is where you come to buy quality pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs, priced to fit your budget. Stop by Pops Auto Sales today, where fair prices and superior service leads to satisfied repeat buyers. Or go to popsautosalesllc.com and browse our inventory and get pre-approved for zero-down financing with approved credit, with service contracts and warranties available. And guys, our truck inventory is one of the largest for any independent dealer, period. Pops Auto Sales, Highway 49 in Florence. Looking to elevate your ride? Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck have you covered. From rugged bumpers to sleek step bars, Weston's top-notch accessories will transform your truck into a head turner. And at Rick's Pro Truck, we specialize in custom installations that bring your vision to life. Visit us today for expert advice and unbeatable deals. Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck, where your truck's potential comes alive. Weston and RPT. Trucks live here.
This Mother's Day, skip the guessing, because when it comes to gifts, Green Oak is what moms want. At Green Oak, you'll find fresh, beautifully designed flowers, lush, blooming plants that last, and thoughtfully curated gift baskets she'll actually love. Whether you're planning ahead or picking something up last minute, Green Oak makes it easy to get it right. Visit greenoakms.com to order online in minutes or pick out your favorites in person at one of our convenient locations in Jackson or Ridgeland. Green Oak, where what moms want.
Hey guys, this is Casey Ellis with Ellis Autoplex, located on Highway 471 in Brandon. Ellis Autoplex, known as Little Truck City, is your old school mom and pop style dealership that's family owned and operated. We specialize in 4-wheel drive trucks, but don't worry, we have cars and SUVs too. Looking to sell your vehicle? Bring it by Ellis Autoplex, where we pay fair market value and we cut you a check on the spot. Need your vehicle service or repair? We can handle that too. Shop us online or set your appointment at ellisautoplex.com. That's ellisautoplex.com.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show, where we actually think here on the program. We just don't sit there and regurgitate news headlines. We actually go down and drill down into thinking about what's actually causing things to happen. And this whole fake outrage over gas prices, to me, it is completely ridiculous. I was going to say another word, but I'll save that because I know I can say it on the radio, but I only get to say it one time. I won't get in trouble by Matt, but just something you only use once. Russian oil reaches California via India amid fuel crisis. As everybody knows, California is in the middle of a massive fuel crisis. And the fact that we are actually having an excellent siege on the country of Iran, and that's what it is. You can call it a naval blockade. But this is like back in the day when kings and queens would siege other kings' castles, other towns, to completely crush their economic system. That's what we're doing in Iran. Because Iran was funding a lot of the hate and discontent around the world. And the leftists are upset because they were the ones getting all that Iranian money. Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis. Because they were the ones getting all that Iranian money. Islamic Jihad, fill in the name of Shia terrorist organizations. It was coming from Iran. California is increasingly relying upon imported gasoline refined from Russia. I wonder if this gasoline is meeting the codes that California has put in. Could it be the fact that California is so overregulated that they have all sorts of different types of gasoline? They cannot use the gasoline that's refined in Arizona or in Mississippi or in Houston. They can't use that gasoline because it doesn't meet the California code. In fact, they have so many special blends that it costs the manufacturer, the oil producers, billions and billions of dollars just to produce gasoline for California. And then these leftists come around and start complaining, "Oh, gas prices are too high. Gas prices are too high." Nope. We had the liberal caller say it was greed. That OPEC sets this price of oil. Well, United Arab Emirates just has a $2.5 million pipeline that completely circumvents the Straits of Hormuz, and they just left OPEC. You know, there's the last time somebody actually was selling oil below market value, that caused the first Gulf War. And we all need to find ways to learn history. There's a YouTube channel out there, and I'm not saying to go watch it now. And you definitely, if you're offended by military language, you're not going to want to watch it. But there's this guy called Fat Electrician, the Fat Electrician. He breaks down military history better than most people I know. And it's a way where you will remember it. And go look up Operation Praying Mantis with the Fat Electrician. And it's a way where you will remember it. Out of the end of it, number one, and go look up Operation Praying Mantis. You'll see that Iran is making a repeat error of Iraq back in 1990 and 87 as well, back in that time frame. And you'll see that the United States is not taking this lightly. In 87 as well, back in that time frame. Now, of course, you've got the mainstream media, because we don't have the Smith-Mund Act anymore. They're reporting their opinion as actual journalism. Now, of course, you've got the mainstream media, because we don't. They're sitting there crying about it. They're reporting their opinion as actual. You know that the refineries in California aren't even producing gas. They're sitting there. It's completely switched to jet fuel. You know that the refineries that's coming from Bloomberg. It's completely switched to jet fuel. You know, those military bases, you got Edwards Air Force Base, you got Marine Corps Air Station, Miramar, Lemoore Naval Station, Coronado Naval Station, Naval Air Station, excuse me, Coronado Naval Air Station. You've got Lemoore Naval Air Station. I'm sure I'm missing more military bases out there, but those are just the airports that I know. Travis, I think Travis Air Force Base is out there. Am I not mistaken? More military bases out there. They're taking up all the oil so that our military can fly. Out there, am I not mistaken? And the sanctimonious Democrats out there in California have the gall to complain about gas prices when they made it better. I thought the Green New Deal was supposed to get us away from oil. If anything, this is a great example of what would happen if we got rid of oil in the world and we went to green energy. If anything, this is a great example of what would happen if we got rid of oil. Hypocrites in the world and we went to green energy. Elon Omar, Squad, AOC, Green New Deal. This is Green New Deal. Hypocrites. Except you notice all of those politicians who are advocating for this. It's not affecting them at all. You think $6 a gallon affecting the rich? It is affecting you, and it is affecting me most certainly. I do drive a Prius, but I still got to fill up. It is affecting you, and it is affecting me most certainly. You know, these politicians are completely disconnected from what's going on, and we have a president who's actually trying to fix this by opening up drilling in America. That's trying to bust open OPEC. United Arab Emirates is the first to leave. I would seem to think that there'll be others that want to leave too, because once those oil-rich nations start going and competing to sell their oil, gasoline will come down. Because once those oil-rich, I think this is the last big oil grab, anyways. I'm of the opinion that there's other stuff out there. I can't prove it, but there's other stuff out there to produce energy. Other stuff out there. I can't prove it. And these Democrats who are complaining about this are just completely off their rocker. And there's another group of people who are completely off their rocker. Just completely off their rocker. These so-called military pundits. There's another group of people who are completely off their rocker. You look up these people who are man on the street, woman on the street, giving their opinion on the war and tactics.
People who are man on the street, woman on the
And you
street,
can see that they're just reading from news
opinion
media
on-
headlines,
on
sensationalist
war
headlines,
and tactics.
not actually digging down
You can see that
deeper.
they're just reading from
And,
news media
and I
headlines,
get that from a civilian.
headlines.
But when we get back, we're going to talk about
Digging down deeper.
this new line of military creator
From a civilian.
who
When we get back, we're going to talk about
are actually
this new line of
sensationalizing
military creator
anything that goes minutely wrong inside the military operation and turning it into a story
sensationalizing
and turning it into a
anything that
scandal.
goes minutely wrong inside the
And
military
what's
operation
bad about it, and I'm not
and
going to
turning
mention
it
their
into a
names,
story.
but I served with some of
Turning
these
it into a
jokers.
scandal.
And these aren't low-ranking
Bad about it, and I'm not
people.
gonna
These
mention
are
their names,
these are
but I
planners,
served with some of
thinkers,
these jokers.
officers, 05 and above.
Low-ranking
Some of them
people.
flags.
These are planners, thinkers, officers.
And I'm just sitting there.
05 and above.
I'm just sitting here
Some of them flags.
in my chair, ensconced in this chair,
And I'm just sitting
thinking
there
about all the briefs that
I'm
I
just
sat
sitting
next to
here
this gentleman or these
in
people
my
with.
chair, ensconced in this
The
chair,
tactics,
thinking about all the briefs that I
the
sat next
plan,
to this gentleman or these people with.
the risk mitigation.
tactics,
I mean, mission plan and
plan,
stuff. And I look at them and I just say, you hypocrite.
I mean, mission plan and stuff.
And
I look at them
I
and
know it
just
feels good
say,
to
"You
get
hypocrite."
that friendly press and feel good. But when you look at it in the grand scheme of things,
I know it feels good to
you're not helping
friendly
the
press
situation.
and
You're
feel
hurting
good.
it.
But when you look at it in the grand scheme
And
of
I
things,
stand by it now, and I'll stand by it till we
you're
get
not
back from the next
helping
commercial break, that the greatest
situation,
weapon
you're
that
hurting it.
Iran has in this war
I stand
is
by
the
it
United
now, and
States
I'll stand
press.
by it till we
You
get
are
back
listening
from
to the
the next
Andrew
commercial
Gossett
break.
Show on
That the greatest
1039
weapon that
WYAB.
Iran has
We'll be right back.
in this war is the United States press. You are listening to the Andrew Gossett Show on 1039 WYAB. We'll be right back.
1039 WYAB.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's it's a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
Efficient and trouble-free payroll processing is crucial to a business's success, and a lot of businesses are struggling with it. PeopleLease, a local payroll provider, not only offers top-of-the-line software, but also provides on-demand payroll support services. With PeopleLease, you're never on your own at every step of your payroll process. PeopleLease has the expertise in managing payroll challenges and will work hard to understand your business and employees. That's what makes PeopleLease the perfect choice for you and your business. Learn more online at peoplelease.com.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franz. And 2 months after the war with Iran began, peace talks are on hold and a blockade remains in the Strait of Hormuz for most tankers. That chokehold driving oil beyond $100 a barrel and gas prices here in the U.S. at the highest in 4 years. Here's ABC's Rebecca Jarvis.
We are looking at a national average today of $4.31 a gallon. That is the highest price Americans have paid in 4 years. Back then, prices hit $5 a gallon, and this morning they are surging, and Americans are feeling it across the country.
Top Pentagon officials back testifying before lawmakers today for a second day. Secretary Pete Hegseth pushing back on criticism over casualties in the Middle East due to Iranian attacks, along with firings of top military leaders. The California man federal prosecutors say traveled to Washington, D.C. last weekend to carry out a mass attack on President Trump and attendees at the White House Correspondents' Dinner was back in court today. A judge ordered he remain held.
In the heart of Flora, there's a place where love, laughter, and comfort come with every cut, color, and style. At our family-owned salon, you're not just a client. You're part of the family. Come share a smile with Shelby, Henley, and Rhonda, ready to make you feel beautiful inside and out. Whether it's a fresh new look or a little time to relax, we've got the chair waiting for you. So step in and feel at home. Find us on Facebook at In Style Salon Flora.
Delta Farm Services, LLC. Delta Farm Services, LLC. From dirt to
done, they make it easy. Find them on Facebook, it's all you need. Big job, small job, call today. They'll shape your land a better way. Delta Farm Services, LLC, the name you trust for what you need. Delta Farm Services, LLC. Delta Farm Services, LLC.
Ladies, tired of running on empty, sleepless nights, mood swings, stubborn weight, skin that has lost its glow? It is not just getting older. It is your body begging for help. Hey, y'all, I'm Morgan at Women's Wellness in Mississippi. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, we bring it all together. Hormone therapy, medical weight loss, and the latest, greatest aesthetic treatments like facials, lasers, Botox, and so much more. This is where wellness and beauty meet so that you can feel amazing inside and out. At Women's Wellness in Mississippi, the best version of you is waiting right around the corner.
Now is the time to turn over a new leaf and shower yourself with savings at Mazda of Jackson. Mazda of Jackson has rates as low as 0.9% on select models, or spring into savings with up to $3,000 in customer cash with approved credit. Get to Mazda Jackson today, where certified pre-owned vehicles and hassle-free trade-in options are also available. Shop online at MazdaJackson.com or visit Mazda of Jackson, I-55 Frontage Road.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. Man, the time just flies by. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff. We're all susceptible to it. We all have our news feeds. We all go get our information. If you are under the age of 25, your number one news source is Tic Tac. That's scary in and of itself. But even with the revocation of the Smith-Mundt Act, our news is so biased and skewed at best, and at worst, it's Nazi-era propaganda. And what's interesting to me, it's not only interesting, but it's terrifying to me, is to watch fellow military members take advantage of this. You know, you've got Pete Hegseth and General Kane testifying on the Hill yesterday and today, and you've got people complaining about casualties. And one casualty is too many. And we're always looking for ways to improve the safety in our military. But when we're fighting war, casualties will happen. And we do have to go back and look at, could we've done better? But grandstanding in the U.S. Senate is not the way to do that. Grandstanding on YouTube is not a way to do that either. And I'm not even going to mention this guy's name, but I listened to him because I served with him. He was a department head in the same command we were with. And to listen to him go into detail on how potentially the Iranians defeated our missile defense system was pretty infuriating to me. For number one, if you're talking about it, sir, on YouTube, our military is also aware of it. But what you have just done is you have confirmed information to Iran and to other bad actors around the world. And hey, this may be a potential weakness to the American system. Now, if you had some 4-star general or some CIA spy come out and say, hey, we want you to leak this, well, then more good on you, but you're still going to get it from me because you should know better. You know, those Shahad drones, they're a pain in the neck to go after. Just look at what's happened in Ukraine. The same technology there. If they found a way to use a certain airframe to defeat the Patriot missile battery, Why would you talk about it? Why would you expose our military men and women who are putting their lives in danger? I've never been to Iran, but I have been to the Persian Gulf and I have been to Afghanistan plenty of times. And I would go again if I could. I think a lot of us who are veterans, especially retirees who really enjoyed serving in the U.S. military, the world's greatest Navy, finest Air Force, greatest Marine Corps, most outstanding Army, greatest Coast Guardsmen. Right now, their Department of Homeland Defense can't get paid because of the Democrats. But when you're out there divulging techniques, tactics, and procedures that have no business being out in the free world, let alone social media, where every 2-bit dictator can go up and pick it up and pull your video apart and figure out exactly how things worked. Because our enemy is intelligent. You know, I can remember Gulf War I, where we were getting ticked off at CNN because they were reporting when we were taking off from certain air bases. And it had a picture of Saddam Hussein and his generals with notepads watching CNN. This is just common sense. You don't do that. But in today's day and age, the information age with social media, it's all about the clicks. It's all about the shorts and the reels, the TikTok videos. It's all about being an influencer. Some of these guys should know better. 05 and above, commanders and above, lieutenant colonels and above. You know, I am very blessed because I'm just a captain, career captain. The goal was E7, 03E over 20, bonus for me. I talk to some of my friends who are retired colonels. I still call them sir, and then they have to correct me. We're civilian now, and I appreciate that, sir, but you're always going to get that respect. We've talked about some of this stuff, and I'm like, would you talk about that? And you're like, man, I wouldn't. I think I'd be getting a talking to by NCIS or OSI. I don't know what the Army has. But if I was divulging secrets like that, I'd be getting a talking to. And we are in, with great power comes great responsibility. In the power that we have now with the technology that we have going forward. Oh, that's a great point. I'll get to that in a minute. But with all the information power we have right now, you would think that on the top end, the career officers and career senior enlisted military personnel would have that all lined up. But we don't. Unknown texter says, did you say that Russia's importing oil to California? How does it feel to be funding the war in Ukraine on Russia's side? Well, you have to ask the Democrats that. You have to ask the Democrats, because they're buying Russian oil. You're funding Vladimir Putin in his war on Ukraine. All you leftists out in California, good on you. That's someone used to call that the laws of good intention. You meant to do good, but ultimately you ended up doing a bunch of bad. Let's see let's check the text line. That one just popped up right as I was going on there. Let's see what this one says. That was talking earlier about the parents. Well, we'll talk about the parents real quick. There are lots of comments coming in about my attack on parents, and this one is pretty good. Black polygamy will solve the education problem in the Black community. Trust me. The problem is that there are not enough Black dads in the Black homes. Black dads put out of the house because Black moms go through premenopause or menopause, and black dad then cheats, and now black mom is mad, and the world is forever, including her. She is mad in the world forever, including her kids. I think that it's not just black; it's white, it's Indian, it's Asian. It's fallen away from God and not following those laws, where mom and dads are important for different reasons. Look, a mom can be a dad in a pinch, and a dad can be a mom in a pinch, but there is nothing like a hug from mom or that look of satisfaction from dad that they give their kid. You know, I was telling my oldest son, I never heard my dad say, "Son, I love you." So I make sure that I tell him that. And he just sat there and thought about that for a minute. He's like, I couldn't imagine not having that. Well, there's a lot of kids who don't have that. And yeah, it sucks if a parent passes away and they don't have that anymore. We're not talking about widow type situation. We're talking about people just doing their thing. 42,000 cases of STDs coming out of Houston, where society just doesn't value the nuclear family anymore. I wasn't expecting to go there in that segment, but that's where it went. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah, that's appropriate song. I Do Not Fear the Reaper. This is the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. You know, that's a great thing when you're grounded in your faith, in you know Christ is King. You can go through things in life that you couldn't do or you thought you couldn't get through. And whether we know it or not, today is the 30th of April, 2026. That's math in public. This is always dangerous because you can look like a real fool real quick. But January, February, March, April, that's 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So that means a third of the year is already over after today. And I knew that this was every month seems to have some type of importance. Black History Month, Confederate Month, LGBTQ month. We got rid of that one. I got my birthday month back. I'm proud of that. I have some pride there. But April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And I thought about maybe talking about it a little bit. But I've already been cured of Parkinson's. I'm healed. I'm just living it out. I'm good to go. But there's a lot of people who suffer with Parkinson's and don't even know about it, or they just get treated for the symptoms. And there is a great article. And honestly, I wouldn't have even talked about this today if it wasn't for Dark Horse Press. And they've got an opinion piece out by Teresa Apel. And I can't even reshare it on X because X is down for me. But there's an opinion piece, and I'd implore all of y'all, if you're touched by Parkinson's or know someone who is, might be worth talking about. Everybody knows Michael J. Fox suffers from it. And it's a lot more than just a tremor or stiffness or lack of facial expression. There's a definite progression to it. But I wanted to talk about it because for decades, it was all about treating the symptom. And most notably known, Michael J. Fox and Janet Reno, the former Attorney General of the United States, had it. They had this shake. I have it. I deal with it. But I also look for ways to treat it holistically, spiritually. And yep, they can put you on some powerful drugs, man. And I always be thankful to Clay Edwards. Actually, it's like, Andy, what do they have you on? And I was just like, this is what it is. And we went through it all and realized that sometimes the stuff they put you on might be doing more damage than good. And I don't expect anybody to feel sorry for me or anything. That's not what this is about. But what this is about is, recognizing that it is Parkinson's Awareness Month. And I am very grateful and thankful that I can walk this walk with my beautiful sweet bee. She makes it a lot easier, a lot grateful. I'm grateful for the sweet toots. I'm thankful for my kids and my family who are like, hey, Dad can't get up and go like he used to. And I'm grateful for everybody who gets to listen here at WYAB. Yeah, Parkinson's sucks, but radio gives me the chance to still contribute to society, give back. And I'm just grateful and thankful to my listeners, to my family, grateful to Clay. And if you know somebody with Parkinson's, I never was looking for like handout or anything or a hand up. Just sit down and be able to talk about it a little bit does a world of good. And so I just wanted to say thank you for that. And hopefully, I'm going to be around for a long time. I'm never going to be back politically active like I used to be, but that's all right. Pass it on to people like Blake. Until then, take care, everybody. Be blessed. Yes, and amen.